the sexual energy's got to move somewhere.
Yes.
We don't want any men imploding out there.
No,
Okay,
no,
so
absolutely. It
you're providing a
acknowledges
safe, nourishing,
that's another thing. Yeah,
imaginatory safe.
it's very safe.
All right, guys, and for the third installment of Hymology with Eve, Eve is an erotic writer and erotic voiceover actress. And for those who don't know me, I'm Shari James. I help men avoid ED medications, get off of them, or in some cases, get them to work with my holistic approach to healing erectile dysfunction. All right, we are ready for Wisdom Bomb number 3, and I cannot wait for this one. We've been building to a perfect point here.
Building to a climax. Yep.
Of course, of course. Wisdom bomb number 3 is erotic audio versus porn. What's the difference? Boom.
Boom. Wow. Okay. Wisdom bomb. So, in a nutshell, the main difference is that with porn, you are an outside observer. You are on the outside looking in, watching other people have sex. With erotic audio, the performer is talking directly to you. You are an active participant in what's going on. They are addressing you directly, and you can create your own responses in your own mind and feel it viscerally as it's happening because it's directed at you. So that's it in a nutshell. And I can't stress enough how much of a difference that makes to the experience. I know that some people, when they hear about erotic audio, they kind of scoff and they say, oh, I turn the soundtrack down when I watch porn, you know. But what I'm saying is the difference is night and day, and it is exponentially more exciting to have someone talking directly to you and involving you in the scenario. So it engages your imagination, engages your mind, lets you imagine so much more than you could ever see in a porn scenario, which is
Absolutely.
just, you know, it's only dealing with real people. I mean, with erotic audio, there's so many kinds. There's so many things that you can do with erotic audio.
Well,
Any situation you want, you know?
I want to go back to how it engages the imagination because from doing the work I've been doing for the past 18 years, and helping guys get off porn as part of what I do, I I've been told and I've observed that porn breaks a man's imagination. So
Yes, I can see
one of
that.
the reasons I love your work and I'm a huge fan and supporter is because it re-engages the imagination, and
Absolutely.
that's very healing.
Absolutely. It's such a shame to think that this wild imagination that we all have, and knowing that the brain is the most important sexual organ, it's really kind of a shame that it's gotten to the point where we just kind of feed people these reels of something that they don't have to think about. They can just
Yeah, just
consume it and just watch it.
overstimulating
Yeah.
the visual
Yeah.
centers in the brain, just like
Yeah.
the brain can't handle that.
Exactly. It just you can't.
Yeah. It causes
And
erectile dysfunction. I mean, there's so
absolutely.
many negative consequences to that.
And the distress that comes from men who have said things like they want to be able to be turned on by sex with their girlfriend or whatever, but they can't. They've just been so numbed to,
Desensitized.
yes. And so I think that making sure you use your imagination on a regular basis when it comes to sexual material, if you want to put it that way, is crucial because it keeps it alive and fresh and vibrant and something that you see how important it is in your own life. You see that it's something that you can look for in your real life experiences. I've
Hmm.
often
The
said
sense
that the
memory.
exactly. And one of the great things about erotic audio, I've heard this from people who have written to me that I've heard from men who are deployed overseas and they'll say, "I love listening to your audio because I can imagine it's my wife." And
Aw.
they don't feel bad about listening to me because they're not watching porn. They're actually thinking about her and they're just using what I'm saying as kind of a prompt. And that I think that's a wonderful idea. Just use it as a way to imagine what you want in your partner, what you would like to do with your partner. Imagine she is your partner, all these wonderful things that can happen that just can't happen with visual porn. I've heard from widowers who have said that they're not ready to move on to dating yet because they miss their wives. But
Hmm.
listening to me helps them bridge that gap because their imaginations can just sort of fill in. They can think about her sometimes, they could think about someone new sometimes without any of the
Well,
emotional baggage that
and their
might come with
sexual
that.
energy has somewhere to go.
Exactly.
Right? Like
Exactly.
the sexual
Yeah.
energy has got to move somewhere.
Yes.
We don't want any men imploding out there.
No, no,
So
absolutely. It
you're providing a
acknowledges
safe, nourishing,
that's another thing. Yeah.
imaginatory safe.
It's very safe. Yeah, that's the thing. It's really just what you make of it. And it's also, to a large degree, I think it's ethical. There's a large debate about ethical porn. I think
Mhm.
with erotic audio, you can always be sure that there's no ethical issues with erotic audio. The performer is over 18 and he or she is doing this by themselves. There's no issues of what you're consuming might be not good for someone. You don't know if
Yes.
this is what the issue is. I can assure you, I'm over 18. I'm very happy to do this. So go ahead and listen. No problem.
And
You know?
I can see her, even though the audience can't see you. We're keeping your mystique alive.
Yes.
I can see her and I can attest she is over 18 years old.
Yes. Yep.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I have something I'd like to add to this. Now, when I lived in Los Angeles all those years, I had a friend who was a photographer. I want to say for Hustler or Penthouse magazine. I can't remember which one at the moment, but what he revealed to me, what he showed me, is psychological information about what, like, let's say, let's say I'm looking at you, I'm looking at a man like this, right? So someone who's more submissive is going to
Hmm.
be attracted to that type of visual. Let's say I'm down here, right? Someone more assertive might be attracted to that visual. So what these magazines do is they test and study the psychology of what can they pull out of you as far as a response. So it's whether it be pornography, like, video or images, they're actually intentionally manipulating men for their own bottom line.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're not helping to heal men, they're not doing any favors, they're strategically manipulating men, and I'm not okay with that. Without knowing the root causes of erectile dysfunction, you might as well just go ahead and throw your pills in the garbage. Contact me for your free video consult.
No, neither am I. I think that they've taken something that is a natural aspect of all of us. Sometimes you feel more submissive, sometimes you feel more aggressive, sometimes you feel like, what I like to do in my audio is I do all kinds of things so that whatever you're in the mood for, just play that audio today. Like you don't have to be labeling yourself. You don't have to be saying, "Oh, I'm a dominant or I'm submissive or I'm this or I'm that." You can say, "I'm a fully realized human being and I have moods just like everybody does. I have, sometimes I want to make love. Sometimes I want to fuck like a
He
monkey.
made
I don't know.
love too. Like
Yeah,
sometimes a man's
yeah.
tired and he's like, hop on, woman, I'm
Hop on. Yeah,
beat.
exactly.
Right?
Sometimes he needs to cuddle and be very gentle and loving. Sometimes he just wants to, ride that ride that pony. And the thing is, that's human. That's the way we are. And I think
Yeah.
that to me it's important not to try to pull something out of someone, but to say, look, whatever you're into at the moment, what do you like? What do you feel like right now? It's all okay. And we're just going to give you options for what you would like to experience. And that way you can safely explore without this label hanging over you, without this sense that
Yeah.
if some guy considers himself a very dominant, aggressive kind of person, he's never going to allow himself to say, well, what would I feel like if I did listen to an audio where the woman is a little more aggressive? You
And
know?
what's cool is he might discover that a part of him starts to come online,
Yep.
get turned on by
Yep.
that. And that's the beauty of your work. It's such a wide array of experiences that are healing, that stimulate, that bring a man's imagination back to himself, to his body, to his partner. And unlike porn, you're not doing anything that's manipulative.
Right. I never label anybody. I don't like labels at all in the things that I do. So I never call anybody by a certain thing, and I never use what I call negative language. I refuse to
Mhm.
call it dirty talk. I don't use filth. I don't use anything negative. I'm completely against that. I know some people don't mind saying things are dirty or filthy because they think it's just a fun part of sex. I have taken a stand on that, and I will never say that. And I don't even use those words because to
Yeah.
me, it's like any label can be too harmful to your full exploration of what you're doing. And words mean things. If you start calling yourself dirty or filthy or any of those things, it's very possible that you take this to heart a little bit too much and you start to see what you're doing and how you're feeling as negative. So I like to be as sort of broad spectrum as possible and say, look, just if
Like
that's
an
your thing, fine.
antibiotic, like a broad
Yeah,
spectrum.
exactly. Just like I'm just gonna hit everything, like just it's just a positive place. That's just it. You don't have to worry about anything. So I even do my own version of I call it Eve Dom, where it's like domination, but it's called Eve Dom because Femdom doesn't really suit it. I'm not nasty. I don't do humiliation. I don't call you names. I don't do anything. I play this role as a very sort of powerful sexual woman who knows what she wants. And she just says, give it to me. Just, hey, you, come here, give me what I want. And men love it. They love it because it's like,
Yes,
oh,
yes,
I don't
yes,
have to be
yes.
called a name to just let a woman kind of have her way with me. Like they love it. And I think it's important. I think it's really important to not try to label people, manipulate them, try to take advantage of them. I'm totally against that.
Yay. Oh my gosh. All right. This has been 10 years in the making, you and I finally speaking on camera and like it's been absolutely amazing. I really consider you a fellow sexual, or I shouldn't say fellow, a fellowess, uh,
A
sex
sister, a sister.
sexual
Yeah.
healer,
Yes,
with your
exactly.
own unique gifts and approach. So we're definitely gonna have like in each of these videos, we're definitely gonna have all of your links in terms of how people can find you.
Hmm.
Um, how do I want to say this? Usually I say, you know, what are you promoting right now? What are you offering? But I want to feel like what kind of man right now listening to this do you want to call in to your work?
I think men that have noticed, even to the smallest degree, that porn isn't that satisfying to them, that they're looking for something a little more, they're not sure what it is, but they're very curious about a different kind of expression of sexuality. People that are more turned on by imagination, by voices, by something that's a little bit different than what they've normally seen. And young men that don't like the way men and women are portrayed in porn lately. I hear that a lot from people that they're just so glad that there's something that doesn't involve choking a woman or like slapping her face. They're just there's a certain like a certain amount of my listeners who are just like I'm just not into that. And yet that's all I can find. And I think it's just men that think and know that there's a little bit more out there. So it's
Yeah,
not an age group. It's not it's nothing like that. It's more like if you've ever thought that there might be a way to kind of get past or evolve or maybe there's something else out there that you're not quite getting it from the porn sites that you visited,
yeah,
just give this a try because it sounds intriguing or you want to know what, you've heard of it and maybe what's the fuss about,
absolutely.
you know?
I endorse your work 110%. So for you guys that are curious, definitely check her out. We're going to have links down below. And Eve, thank you so much for sharing your work and your love and your joy.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Honestly, same right back at you. This has been a complete pleasure and I'm so honored to be part of this. This feels so right to me that we're both doing this kind of thing and helping men. And I just, it's a blessing. I really thank you for that.
Hey, you. Hey, guy, who's learning about sexual health mixed in with some Tantra mixed in with some 5 elements of Chinese medicine and some Western medicine. I want to let you know something. I would love it if you would hit my subscribe button and the notification bell. That way, you're going to know when new content is posted every Friday.